morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. You're back at it. We're back in the morning loop. Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends. The only morning show to help you guys get your ass out of bed. Congratulations to my Winnipeg Jets. Bringing it together with a big win last night here at Winnipeg. Beating the St. Louis Blues 5-3. Getting after it again tomorrow night. Jimmy, tomorrow, Friday, game set. No, actually, it was game 5 last night. Game 6 coming up this Friday. Maybe the Jets can put it away. And I got another Keith in the dressing room over there. Looks like he's got his Edmonton Oilers sweater on. I think they're playing tonight, Jimmy. I think they're playing tonight. Yes, I think they're playing tonight. Going to try to take out the Kings. It's funny because I came into this playoffs. I thought the Kings were the sleepy team out of the West, but maybe the Evans is going to drop them off here today. But listen, we're going to get after today the truth behind semen retention coming up here on the show. Yes, Hawkins, I'm talking semen here today. We got John Anderson with myself as well. We got Patricia Rubio joining us later on in the show for the Community Corner. We're also talking about here today. We're getting after guys. So I'm going to be frank with you guys. Yesterday we had a big show, and yesterday's title of the show was "How I Failed in Public." And it happened in front of you. Well, truthfully, it actually happened in public in front of you during the show. And one of our regular listeners, Amy Reiner, came and knocked on my door yesterday. What's going on, Roof? What's going on, Roof? Way to go, Jets, brother. Yes, good to see Matthew Roof in the lab here this morning, getting up, getting after it, throwing kindness on the table, making sure he's going in the right direction. Roof, I'm a huge fan of yours, brother. Roof was on the show here a few days ago. It's Roof, not Roof. No, if you guys are wondering how to say his name, it's actually Matthew Roof. Yeah, so if you're in Canada, it's Roof. Like Roof, right? So, Matt, I'm never going to forget the last name now ever since we met and hung out yesterday in the show, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you again. Listen, guys, we're bringing Roof back on the show here in the future. But listen, we're going to get after it here today, guys. As I was saying, yesterday, had some troubles. Yeah, had some troubles right in front of all of you guys. And as it was happening, Johnny, my brother, had my back. He just pulled it all together. And then after the show, I was doing some troubleshooting. And lo and behold, old Uncle Keith, if I was using the car analogy, old Uncle Keith was driving the car for the last year and a half and didn't do any maintenance. Nope, no oil changes, just didn't do nothing. And then just showed up one day and all of a sudden the car wasn't working. I was like, what the fuck? So yesterday, spent some time with the Beast, as Jimmy has nicknamed him, Carter Billis and myself. We got into the lab. We made some content. We did some testing. And lo and behold, everything is working fine. I think it's all working fine, but Jimmy, we won't know if it's working fine until we bring Johnny up here in a quick second. But guys, just a quick reminder, this is an R-rated experience. So if you have some children in the room, I know that Keith Hawkins likes to delay blue. Why so sweaty? I love that you've observed that. Truthfully, I just did a big lift this morning. I then got after a big ride on my bike. And then actually, true story, while I was on the bike, the power went out. Yes, I know, drama. The power went out. It's like, fuck it, I'm going to keep going. So yes, Johnny, I did not let any obstacles get a hold of me. I looked at the clock. I'm like, okay, I can extend this an extra 15 minutes. I might show up in the lab a little sweaty this morning, but I'm going to do it. So I did, got after it, finished it up, and running in here a little bit later this morning. Jimmy, let's bring up John and I want to see if we're going to have any.
Well, if you need me to fucking talk for 12 minutes straight again, that's not a problem. This is what I do. On the fly with no direction. It's okay, baby. I got you. That's what I do.
Dude, you had my fucking back yesterday and it's funny, I gotta send you yesterday's highlights, man. I ran yesterday's highlights package and I ran a joke next to it. It was like, how many times can John Anderson say the F word? You gotta watch the 4-minute package yesterday. It is awesome.
If I've been cursing up a storm.
Dude, yesterday
God damn it.
was awesome. It was just fucking.
I don't even know it sometimes. It's so terrible.
I swear you were knitting an Afghan together. And every sentence you would weave in an F here, F there. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. But
I think when it comes down to when I see people or just society being soft,
yeah,
just like, come on, man. It just makes me want to say the F-bomb, get out of your chair and do something, please. You know what? This is not rocket science.
It's so true, man. It's so true. Listen, I was going to send you a note last night, say thank you for having my back yesterday. I would not have expected to see it. Hey, Jimmy, if you can grab that video from Carter yesterday on the YouTube channel, Carter drops an awesome hook, Johnny. I think you're going to love it. Jimmy, if you can grab that quickly, that'd be awesome. Carter and I did some testing yesterday, Johnny. I said, Carter had a test yesterday. He was like, hey, Dad, my class got canceled. I'm like, hey, why don't you come help me out? So we got on the video with me, and we actually did a drop. We did some live, we interviewed each other. He came on, did some content with me, did live videos together, and it's like the guy has done it before, Johnny. He's got in front of the camera, started talking, dropping fucking hooks and dropping one-liners, and it was all good. And then listen, boy, my hockey team won last night, pal. Late night, but I got up this morning pretty happy. The boys won last night, and
baby,
I manifested positive energy.
Yes, that's what it's all about, brothers. You think about it, especially in those arenas, man.
Yes,
the energy in the arena can totally change the tide of the momentum.
Absolutely,
it's great. It's like that energy. You know, people don't believe in the power of energy. Go to a game of any type where the crowd is so behind it, they change the momentum of a game. It happens all the time.
Yes, so true. It was good, man. It was good energy last night. Really, really positive. A lot of fun, and we're back at it here today. So Amy Reinhardt yesterday, Johnny. Amy sends me a text. She goes, oh, I thought you planned on failing in front of all of us to make it part of the show. I'm like, no, actually, my thing was fun. And you know what it was? Here's the best analogy, pal. And you and I talked about it when we first started hanging out a few months ago. I hadn't quote unquote maintained my car. Didn't change.
Kind of like it was just like you helped me maintain mine.
Yes, exactly. So I literally, Johnny, was just taking it for granted. I'd show up here, it would just work. Except,
was it the same issue I had, the exact same one, or different?
It was that and some more. My machine was so full of crap from the last year because I literally come down here, do the show, it works, and then I leave, and then I come back to the show, it works. Well, as we know, the last few days it was like kind of getting worse, right? And then yesterday it just went kaput. So I just thought it was somewhat coincidental or ironic, however you want to say it.
I just thought you were turning into Rain Man slowly but surely, dude. All the rocking.
Hey, how was your pickleball game yesterday? I'm just fascinated by you and Terry playing pickleball. How was your pickleball game yesterday?
It was good, man. We're having a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, what we actually did was we went to the tennis courts instead of the pickleball courts.
Oh, okay. Tell me why is that?
I think number one, there's a little wind in the tennis ball courts. They have the net all the way around, so it'll block the wind.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
The pickleball courts are closer to the sea. So they leave one side totally open so you can see the ocean, which is really cool.
Okay.
Right. But the tennis courts, they're a little bit further, different position. Anyway, so we went there for the reason kind of doesn't really matter. It's a bigger fucking court.
Yeah. Yeah.
So holy Christ, man, that bigger court makes a big fucking difference if you're paying any attention to the lines. Goddamn. You know?
I got to tell you, man, it's I don't know, ever since, you know how sometimes you talked about it before, you see something, next thing you know, it's in your world all the time. Well, it's like
that's called the reticular activating system.
Yeah. So it's like that. Ever since you and I have been talking pickleball, it's like I can't open the news and they're building a pickleball facility over there, a pickleball facility over there. There just seems to be pickleball all over the place. It seems right these days.
You know, and what you just said is so powerful, brother, because you're just talking about pickleball.
Yeah.
But for everybody listening, let's take the pickleball out and let's put in positivity. Because our brains are wired to find problems and negativity. And if you basically program your brain to where positivity is important to you, you start seeing positivity rather than negativity. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Speaking of positivity, Jimmy, I see you got the video ready here. Johnny, check out the young man here with his words of wisdom. Jimmy, let's drop it. Peer pressure amongst your peers, 18-year-old man, how do you handle it?
You're gonna fail, right? So you have to go in with that mindset and just expect it to happen, right? And when it does happen, what helps me is I just think everything happens for a reason, right? There's gonna be some good that comes out of it. There's gonna be some bad, obviously, but you just gotta forget about it and focus on the next thing.
There you go. You say that. Jimmy, wisdom from the young soul on the show here. There you go. It's just funny how we can learn things from the younger men in our life. Hey, Johnny?
Well, you know, brother, it's funny because when we were texting about it and you said that he was going to join the team.
Yeah.
What did you say? You said you said two things. And I was like, well, if he's got that, he's good. You know,
You're right. When you said that, and I know you and I drink the same Kool-Aid all the time as it is, but he's eager and he wants to learn. So
yeah. Because if you know, if you have interest, you know, like when people want to get in shape and they're having trouble because they're not interested enough in getting in shape. So I kind of knew, you know, with those two things that you'd said, is this kid's going to be fine. And then of course he's already done, you know, for a young man, he's already been very accomplished in the game of hockey. So all he's got to do is take that and transfer it to anything else he does. So I didn't want to jinx it, but I knew that he was going to come out of the gate, you know, with like a fucking raped ape, which is a compliment.
Well, and he's doing some stuff for us behind the scenes. And I got to tell you, man, he sends me a text last night. Okay, so what's next? I'm like, fuck, man, slow down. You're keeping. I love how our kids keep us accountable, eh? I just love it. Your daughter calls me. She's like, Dad, I'm thinking about leaning into the Bible. You're like, oh, okay. And you're just, okay. Like, it's just these things, the way that our children hold us accountable and surprise us. I don't know if there's a feeling like it, Johnny.
100%, brother. And you know, what's really kind of cool about that is, so talk about, you know, obviously there are kids right now. There's our kids, there's us, then there's our parents. So my mom just turned 90 on Monday.
Wow, congratulations, Mom.
Anyway, a day or two back, the 28th, or whatever the fuck that was. And so I'm talking to her, and we have these freaking amazing conversations, like crazy, like universe and shit, you know?
Yes.
And anyway, so she's like, you know, I've been 90 years old. I'm really starting to wonder what my purpose for the rest of my life is.
Seriously? Seriously?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because she's like, you know, everything is just keeps evolving and changing. You know, she's very happy. She's constantly studying. She's, you know, she leads meditation groups, but she feels like there's a pivot for her, you know? And anyway, so I told her, I said, well, you know, I said, your granddaughters are because the middle daughter actually started reading the Bible, you know, a few months back too. I think probably maybe had something to do with the younger one started. They usually they near each other a little bit.
Sure.
Anyway, and so I told her, I said, you know, I said, Mom, your granddaughters are both kind of starting their spiritual journey in their early 20s. I think, you know, your purpose is to guide them. How many kids have a grandmother who actually is, you know, spiritually involved as you? Call it religion, call it what you want. You know, she studied all types of religions. And so I'm getting that's just really cool that I see the generation above me, you know, affecting the one, you know, my kids. It's just when everybody gets on the same page, it's pretty amazing. But ultimately, that's what I'm getting at is that, you know, the Indians used to put all of their elders into a teepee and send the young ones in there so they could pass down the knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge.
And I think that's one thing that we tend to miss is that, you know, we really kind of owe it to not only our children, but that whole generation to pass this knowledge down so we can continue to get better as a race rather than, you know, going backwards, so to speak.
I'm chuckling to myself. What's Mom's name?
Sally.
Hey, Sally, what's shaking? I'm 90. I'm looking for my purpose in life.
Well, she's, I mean, keep in mind, she knows she's had a great purpose all along, but she feels like there's a pivot to it. You know what I mean?
But come on, Johnny, we talk to guys on the show like that are half of her age that are still, I was in my mid 40s still wondering what my purpose was. And to have the mindset, the wherewithal, the desire, the wants.
Oh, brother. She's been studying like goodness. She's been studying like, you know, God, I'm trying to think like the first one I remember when I was just a youngster, 6-7 years old, was a guy named Gurdjieff. Yeah. And basically it's all of these different spiritual leaders and they're all speaking the same language. They're all talking about find your peace. You know what I mean? How to be a good person. Yeah. And funny enough, his message, if you boil it down, and I just talked to her about this a couple of years back, and I think it had a huge effect on me, was you found your space in the work, like physical work. Yes. Well, fuck, man. Like I found my way in the gym. It's work. Yes. Whether you got a shovel or barbell in your hand, what's the difference? Yes,
exactly. That's awesome. Hey, pal, we got a hockey dude come. Well, kind of a hockey dude, a jewelry guy. Johnny, today's guest thinks that entrepreneurship is about as romantic as getting cross-checked in a hockey game. The guy's skating circles around the jewelry industry. I met this guy last week, Johnny, off the show here. We talked for a few minutes. I said, okay, we got to stop. He's like, oh, yeah. I said, no, let's keep it for the show. He's an interesting character. His name's Keith Hawkins. He's coming up in a minute, Johnny. We're going to meet him. And he's from the West Coast, just up the road from you. Well, in San Jose, I think. But Jimmy, let's do the accountability.
That's the Bay Area where I used to live.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Well, Jimmy, let's
like an hour away tops.
Awesome. Let's excuse Johnny to do a quick little break. I'll do the accountability check-in, and then we're going to bring in Mr. Hawkins to talk kara. We're going to talk jewelry. We're going to talk diamonds, and we're going to talk a little bit of hockey this morning and Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Roof, I see your comment. I got one kid is teaching me the social game. The other one teaching me psychology from our honors college. The sandwich generation. We're all the meat. You got it, Matthew. We are all the meat. Speaking of meat, guys, we know that life expectancy work is how we live longer. So whether it's working with your partner or working with yourself, make sure you're taking care of yourself with some life expectancy work. Jimmy, I know what you're thinking right now. I know I weaved in meat into that segue. I'm good with the segues, right, guys? So put the meat aside and get that life expectancy work in to extend your life. All right. Here's another segue. You ever feel like you're faking it? Nah, we're not talking fake orgasms. No, listen. If your partner's giving you a fake orgasm, you got some problems. I'm just saying. Just saying. Hey, listen, guys, you ever feel like you're faking it? Yep. Like you got to act like the strongest guy in the room. I never chased applause. Maybe. Good. Yes, good time. Pocket meat. It's just funny how things can just distract you out of the blue. Not the squirrel over there, Roof. No, not the squirrel. Roof, I know you look at squirrels like I do. That you just, they're over there, Uncle Keith. Yes. Listen, guys, I'm just off on a tangent here. When if you're not faking it, Jimmy, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about here. Hey guys, listen, just stop faking it. Get after it. Don't hit the snooze button. And if you don't hit the snooze button, life's going to be great and all that bullshit. Jimmy, let's just keep the show rocking and rolling, man. I'm going to get to the hook here for our next guest. I'm just having some fun here today. I'm in a good mood, guys. My hockey team won last night, and Matthew Roof is in the lab, and we got Keith Hawkins in the lab, and Johnny's here with me today. We're all just having some good times here today in the lab. But listen, we have a guy named Keith Hawkins. He's the co-founder of Kara X. It's funny, I worked with an agency called Kara, and I don't know if it's Carrot or Kara, but Carrot X, the powerhouse platform, shaking up how the jewelry business goes digital. He's also the author behind the highly anticipated and hotly anticipated book, The Signal Fire, releasing this May. Keith describes entrepreneurship as unromantic. Yes, he is absolutely right. But somehow he still finds to make abstract luxury art and cheer for his beloved hockey team, the Winnipeg Jets. Yes, I said it. Buckle up as we dive deep into some entrepreneurship, some gems, some art, and why romanticizing your hustle might be holding you back. The guy's been in the green room for a couple hours. Let's take a moment to welcome into the lab Mr. Keith Hawkins. Let's shake and hawk.
Keith, what's up, brother?
We got you muted. We got you muted on the vertical there, buddy. There you go.
Nope. Oh, shit.
Nope. Love it.
There's two different browsers, brother. You got to go to both browsers and unmute yourself.
That's right. Yeah, and we'll need to
keep vertical and the horizontal. I promise, if I figure this shit out, you can too. It was a bitch for me to start. It didn't make any sense to me either.
And we'll need you to keep your headphones on too, so we don't have any echoing going on there. So what? Well,
there we go. Hear him now. Come on, baby. He made it.
There you go. What's going on, Hawkins?
Oh, shit, now we lost him. I think his headphones are the problem.
I think it's the headphones. Yeah.
I think your headphones may be the problem, bro. Are they plugged in all the way? See, that would be a mistake that I would make right there.
So Johnny, there's a new segment on the show. Keith and Johnny welcoming the guests and doing play-by-play how they're figuring it out. Keith will commentate and Johnny will offer the color commentary.
It's the threshold to join the show. You got to be able to read the goddamn directions. I almost didn't make it.
Hawkins, we can't hear you, brother.
I don't think he thinks we're hearing him, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, we can't. We can't
hear us because.
Yeah,
there we go, baby. There we go.
That's right. Keith, welcome to the show. My friend, how are you, buddy? How are you? How are you today? Good. Thanks for waking up with us today. There you go. There you go. So, Hawkins, let's get into it right off the bat, pal. Where are you joining us from this morning? I know it's early. Yeah, San Jose.
Yeah, brother. I used to live before I moved to Southern, I used to live in Marin County.
Oh, there you go.
Right on.
Hey, Hawk, you're muted on the horizontal, Keith. So if you can unmute yourself on horizontal, that would be awesome, pal. And we'll get you off there as well.
So if you go to that tab, they just got to see the mute at the bottom left, and you'll be good.
There you go.
There we go. It's good. I thought I clicked them both. All right, my bad.
Hey, Keith, so let's get into it, pal. Hey, man. Hey, Mike McQuillan. Good to see you, pal. Good to see you here in the comments. Hey, Hawkins, start off with this question, brother. What is your morning routine?
So wake up, coffee, and kind of do what comes in front of me. So like, if there's an issue with development, handle that. If there's an issue with writing, following up with something, artwork, like I just do it as it comes. I don't do the whole 4 a.m. ice bath bullshit. I don't want to call it bullshit, but it's kind of like everything has a place and time, and I kind of just get up and go and do it. Whatever's calling my attention gets it. And it's been really productive. And that kind of helps weed out what's busy versus productive. And because when you try to do a structure, for me, it may not be the right thing. Like I kind of feel it, what feels like it needs my energy more. And that's kind of the intuitive nature of just how I live my life, wake up to close.
So that's what struck me when you and I met, and I said we got to pause, because I know when you and I were talking, I'm like, John's going to lean into this, because you're all about energy, and you're all about getting up and getting momentum. You're all about getting up, creating movement to create momentum.
Yep.
Tell us how Kara, and tell us a little bit what Kara is and how it came to life, because Johnny, you'll appreciate this. Yeah. The guy just meets somebody, and next thing you know, they start moving. Johnny. They start creating momentum, Johnny. Next thing you know, there's a business there. Sound familiar? And I thought that was quite fascinating, because, you and I subscribe to that philosophy of get up, start creating some momentum, and then, through movement, and then magic happens. Hawkins, a little bit of how Kara came to life and your philosophy around energy that creates momentum through movement.
Yeah. So pretty much Josh and I, he's an old coworker of mine. This is going in the book. We pretty much met up for coffee. He was going through a divorce at the time. He was dealing with some stuff. I was dealing with some stuff. And we decided, hey, let's meet up for coffee. Literally, him and I talked how the three of us are talking now. There was no agenda. We sat down, we talked, and then we went from coffee as it was still cold. I kid you not, it was still iced coffee. We're talking about the diamond industry, and we were talking about just how things are. And I had a clothing brand, and he was flipping diamond rings. And we kind of took this mesh of, I know branding, he knows the diamond industry. And we just said, let's start a jewelry brand. And then we started seeing how more or less fucked up the industry was. We were like, oh, this is bad. And so instead of joining the problem, we were like, you know what, let's solve it. And we didn't know how to solve it. We didn't know where to start. We didn't know who the players were. We didn't know. We didn't know. We didn't know.
What was the problem you were solving? What was the problem you were solving? Educate Johnny and I in our audience.
Yeah,
Matthew Roof is quite actively engaged. What problem were you solving?
Yeah, so all of them. So everyone knows the 4 C's about diamonds and the basic stuff. But
actually, I have no clue what the 4 C's are. So tell me.
No? Okay, so cut, color, clarity, basic.
Okay, I'm with you. I just didn't recognize the 4 C's. Yeah, I'm just not with the lingo. Yeah, I got you.
You're good. So there's very basic things that the consumers know. And the industry tries to talk about authenticity and transparency and origin, but it doesn't really translate well from an old industry like that. There's a lot of bottlenecking. There's a lot of players that more or less artificially inflate things. I'm not going to name drop, but there's things that go on that we saw an issue, and there's a high bar to entry. There's a lot of things that average people suffer with, and they can't get into the industry to sell. So we're connecting the industry on an e-commerce platform that we built from scratch to get everybody together in one place to actually help small businesses be able to like bring people from the top of the supply chain to the bottom. And there's a big disconnect between mine, origin, going down to manufacturers, to retailers, to the consumer, and everything in between. It's super fragmented, super disconnected, and we're bringing it together. And there's a lot of players who love us for it. There's some players who are saying stay in your lane, but luckily for us,
it's perfect, brother. That means you're shaking the shit up. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Keith, what's been the most surprising thing that you've learned while building?
Real quick, I just want to point out one thing for everybody listening. So one thing that makes this partnership so great is you had two people that came with two very different skills, and together they were able to stay in their own lanes and make this amazing business. It's like two people that like to work out. Like, oh yeah, I love to work out. You like to work out. Let's start a gym. Terrible partnership. You got to have one guy that loves to work out and one guy that loves accounting, So the two that came together was like a perfect mesh. They had their own lanes to stay in. And that's for anybody that's looking to start a business. Just remember your choice of partners can be really, really helpful or really detrimental just based upon interest and skill set.
That's a good point, Johnny. And no agenda, right? So Hawkins didn't have it, they each did not have an agenda. I know when I started ICUC, I had a business partner, and the key, and actually that's a whole show discussion. The key was, and Keith, I'd be curious to hear your perspective on this, and Johnny said it too. The key was we each knew our roles.
Yes.
I didn't step into his world. He didn't step into my world. At first, we had to figure it out. It's like a good marriage, right, Johnny? You had to figure it out. But once you have your roles clearly identified, man, does magic ever happen? Hawkins, talk about that. Let's play off with Johnny just questioned. Like, you guys both walked into business together, didn't know each other. How did you identify what one was good at, what one wasn't good at, and how did you guys make sure you didn't get into each other's worlds?
So we barely knew. So we knew each other very little. Like, we crossed paths at BMW. Like, I was the gopher guy. I ran around the dealership. He did kind of third-party contracting to paint the used cars. So we already, by nature, we met each other with our own lanes, but together. So we saw each other's work ethic from a distance. When this melded, Josh was the data guy. I'm the creative guy. And we knew the lanes to stay in, but like, there was times we stepped on each other's toes. I'm not going to lie. Like, if one of the most colorful, dynamic relationships I've ever experienced would be like a legitimate co-founder. Like, it's marriage. I've never been married. My dad's on his third. I'm not trying to get married. That's a whole separate thing. But like, balancing, like, you'll step on each other's toes indirectly no matter what, but it's how you react to the stepping on the toes. Like, I'll do some creative stuff. He'll do some data stuff. He'll talk about I should do certain things a certain way. We go back and forth, but that dynamic of like, it's almost like I was going back to the beginning. You undefined, there's no agenda. You take it apart, and then it works itself out. Like, there was times we were building out. We would talk to the suppliers, we would talk to people, and work on a problem of like, they had an inventory issue, right? So they had an inventory issue. We were building like filters for the platform. And he would work forward from like problem to solution. And sometimes I would work from solution to problem, and I would do it backwards. We would kind of not get into a spat about it, but like devil's advocate. And we would start going, okay, like, why would this work? Why would this not work? And we got to a point where we were, keeping our separate lanes, but we like still stepped on toes, but we got to that middle ground.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, I mean, there's some strength to that, because you need a partner that's going to question you. Like, even though it's your strength, we all sometimes miss shit. Maybe it's a bad night's sleep. Maybe it's just a kind of you have a scarcity mindset for the day, and you're seeing the problem, not the solution. And your partner can say, "Hey, check it out. I know this is your lane. But what do you think about this?" That's a good partner.
That is a good partner. Well, it's a good team, isn't it? It's keeping you accountable, right? So if you're both trying to win the Stanley Cup, to use an example, and one of you are having some troubles getting there, I think it's on the other guy to wonder what's up.
Well, there's a certain amount of friction that's needed.
Yes.
In a business partnership, it's like, hey, and some people don't get that. It's like there's your partner, and then there's your friend. Okay, let's talk business.
That's a hard. So in the beginning,
that's a fucking hard one to deal with for sure.
It is.
Yep.
It is, because part of you goes, "Hey, we're chill. Like, let's have coffee and hang out." But then that's why, like, I wouldn't honestly ever recommend people who are like, "Hey, let's get married and let's start a business together." Anytime I hear that from somebody, I'm like, okay, like you do you, but like I don't. You got to be careful. Like it's because it's hard. Like you could push too hard to like completely destroy a friendip.
But I'll tell you though, I'll tell you. So I've I had a business partner with ICUC, and he's still my partner in this thing here. The immense amount of love that I have for that human being, because he's had my back, he's been the rock. Johnny, Keith, we have had some fucking arguments. Oh, have we had arguments? John, probably like you and Terry have had, like just some incredible discussions, arguments, disagreements, like, and anger and yelling. But you know what? All from a place of love and respect. And even when we would disagree and fight and leave for a few days, there is such a strong foundation of, I know the guy has my back. And that's, and when you can find that, John, just like a marriage, and I know how you speak about Terry and me with Lauren, when you can find that, man, it's just so powerful, because you can stand in front, and Johnny, I feel like it's coming with you, man. Like I can stand in front of you naked, right? And you can hold me accountable to it. We can argue, we can debate, but I know that when I'm falling, you're going to be there to catch me. When you find somebody that's fucking
as long as you got your drawers on, I'll catch you. Put your fucking drawers on first.
You know what I mean? But
when you got you, brother, 100%.
Find someone
100%. 100%. Yeah. And on that level too, I mean, I've had, God, I've never fucking had a job. I came right out of college and went straight into business, and I've been an entrepreneur my whole fucking life. So I've had many partners, and you always have heaters. And so, but one of the first is I'm going to just say, once it starts to heat, I'm going to say, look,
yes,
just want to make sure we're very clear. You're my friend. You're my brother. I love you. Yes. This is not about that. Right. This is about something else. Yep. No matter how this conversation goes about business, what I said a second ago does not change. So let's get that square.
Yep.
If you choose to leave because of this conversation, I will love you the same. Our friendship does not stop.
Yeah. The power of conversation. And when you, like I said, when you can find a partnership that is that strong, man, it is, it's so unbreakable. Keith, talk about the Signal Fire a little bit. What inspired you to write it? What's it about? What's the core message that you hope resonates with readers? And tell Johnny and I and Matthew Roof and our audience here about the Signal Fire.
Yeah. So it's pretty much, I spent another 3,000 words last night, so I'm a little groggy from writing and editing, but it's been crazy. So it's pretty much my life, my upbringing, the toxic abuse, pretty much the bullshit. So
you mean real quick, you're talking about the blessings that you had when you were younger?
Yeah, you could call them that. So in the time they didn't feel like blessings.
Well, they never do. They never do. But
Keith, talk about those though, if you don't mind. Talk about those.
So pretty much, just the home life collapse. So my dad, my mom left my dad for his friend, and it was interesting. So like that moment.
How old were you?
So they started hanging out when I was like probably 12, 13. And then they ended up leaving around when I was 16. So dropped out of high school. So I left my junior year of high school. I had I had some pretty heavy stuff in childhood that pretty much affected I kept quiet, didn't trust people, I'll save it for the book. There's one event that I'll save for the book. It's big, but it pretty much shifted everything. And looking back, like most of the.
And thank God, brother, look at you now. Had that not shifted, you wouldn't be this amazing human being you are right fucking now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was rough, and that's how the book shifts. It talks about like the collapse of everything, or what we perceive to be the collapse, and then how that shifted into my personality, and then my personality, how that became my professional mindset. And then the professional mindset shifts into the story of Caradex, how it actually became. So it's a great shift of like overcoming trauma. That's why the on the front, the title says trauma doesn't stay traumatic, because it doesn't. Like in the time it feels rough, but then you kind of overcome it and kind of it's a blessing because, you know, like when my mom left, what's crazy is she left a void, you could say, but then when she came back, she financially helped me in a way that, like, because she felt guilty for leaving, she wanted to financially help me. And every time she called, she's like, hey, I'll give you $20. But before that, she never would do that. And so I'm not saying like I needed the $20 all the time, but she had a different view of like, hey, let me help you more. Let me help you more as much as she could. So it was a shift of like, I think my parents realized what they did. Like I say this in the book, like my parents didn't raise me right, but they raised me right. Like they didn't do it the right way, I feel, but like the outcome was good.
You know, it rather just real quick. I just want to play with some adjectives here. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the word collapse, right? Yeah. And you attach that to your story, right? Yeah. I just want to invite you to use a word that I kind of insert into, you know, that I used to use because I didn't use the word collapse, but I had plenty of words that summarize the shit that I went through. Right. The chaos period. The chaos period is where things kind of fucking break loose, but it's a restructure, you know, and that restructure actually makes a better you, you know? Yes. So, and just like you said with your mom, I mean, she came back and started to help you. Now, granted, you know, none of it made sense until you look at you now, you know, it all makes sense now, because if one of those things had been different, you may not be writing this book. You may not be a business owner. You may not be doing what you're doing if one of those things didn't happen.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly right. Like I was actually, I was actually talking with someone I know about that exact thing. Like we were talking about, if I didn't shift and if something didn't happen, I wouldn't have that reaction. So like two of the stories we talked about. So two of the critical stories, one of the stories is I had a good friend of mine hang himself in high school. And so I didn't know that he came to class, played his guitar, and it was his farewell song. We didn't know that. And so he was singing to everybody that he was, you know, like signing off. And so the crazy part is I saw him, didn't think anything of it. It wrecked me for a minute because I'm like, I saw you, I talked to you. We're good. Like what I didn't know he was in that far off of a spot. And that led me about a year later. What's crazy is my good friend of mine, to this day, he's doing really well, but he tried to commit suicide by jumping into traffic. And I actually saved him. Like I grabbed onto him, we wrestled, we fought, and he pulled us both into traffic. And the cop showed up literally to pull us out of the street, like as we were inches from getting run over by a car. That moment, so what I was talking about is if I didn't experience my friend committing suicide by killing himself, I wouldn't have thought to be.
You wouldn't have the strength to almost give your own life to save a friend's life. That's what I'm telling you, bro. It's exactly. Like everything is fucking planned. Everything is fucking good. You know, it's just, I mean, I fucking love it, brother. I love it. You know, sometimes it's so easy for us to, you know, get sucked into society's rules and how we're supposed to look at things. Yes. But in actuality, every fucking problem is an opportunity. We just get hung up by what, you know, it's like you can see something you want, or you can see the problem in the way of what you want. We've been programmed to see the problem, which really creates a roadblock, which keeps us from pursuing what we want. And we have to realize that problem is going to increase our skill set. And every time we go through one of those, we get better. Sometimes little, sometimes big, sometimes emotional. I mean, funny enough, I mean, brother, my dad left my mom because of me, you know, but fucking thank God, because when he stepped out, I had this amazing stepdad come in. If he didn't come in, I'm not here today.
Yeah.
Johnny, it's amazing how, you know, as we've been doing this show together, we meet all these incredible humans that come through our show here, and these common themes, John? Right? Keith Hawkins' theme, right? Where we go through something, and whether it's a tragedy or it's something that's happening in our life, how it transforms us or how it moves us in a direction. And Hawkins, to Anderson's point, these things not happening to you, you're not here with us probably today. You're not writing the signal fire. And when we're going through these moments, and I'm trying to wrap these words around inspiration, because there's somebody right now who's maybe listening to us and they're going through some shitty times in life. They're going, what's the point of all this? Why is this happening to me? What, this is not very positive right now. Well, when we sit back and look at a moment in time and we look further out from that moment in time, there's something we can learn from it. And when I hear your story, Hawkins, these themes just consistently resonate with the humans that come through our show, right? Setback, a failure, a fall down, pick up. It's a pivot.
On that level, just think if we were taught when we were young.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
Yeah.
If we were programmed with this, look, you're going to have the next time something happens, thank the problem, because that problem's going to make you better. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, we're programmed to pursue problems, which are actually opportunities, because every time we pursue a problem, we get better. We get better, life gets easier. And that's the fucking thing that we were never taught when we were young. We're basically programmed to run away from the roadblocks because it keeps us fucking small, keeps us contained.
I think about a team sport. Hawkins thinking about hockey, right? You can be a good hockey team, but masking all the mistakes and masking all the inadequacies in your game, but yet you keep winning. When you keep winning without really recognizing the problems, it's like a marriage that just keeps happening and going through the motions until somebody kind of gives in, right? It's like it's this idea of problems aren't a bad thing, frankly. Problems keep us moving.
Brother, I'm sorry. God damn it. You're talking about hockey. Well, think about this. We're talking about sports.
Yes.
And it's the way so we're programmed in this way, and it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
So winning doesn't feel nearly as good.
Yeah.
And losing feels bad.
Yes.
You're going to lose and you feel bad, so you're going to change.
Yes.
It's like it's the way that but we're programmed to see that loss as a bad thing. No, fuck. Thank God you got your ass handed to you, because look how much better you're going to be. And you hear the people that have achieved something in sports, they will all talk about that.
There's
like George St. Pierre was a fighter up from your neck of the woods, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like, the best thing that ever happened to me was getting knocked out by Matt Serra, a guy who they thought was just going to get turned upside down. And it was like, George was like, I had to learn to not worry about what people think about me after that. And that completely changed him.
There's so much truth to the idea of you have to learn how to win. You have to lose first to win. And Keith, I'm looking at you, brother, just kind of, if I was to throw it on the table, your life had to lose many times. Yep. So did mine. So did Johnny. Johnny had to not be able to lift up 2.5 pounds many times before he was able to lift up 5 and 10 and 15. Right. Exactly. And you had to fall down so many times before you're here to get here today.
I'm still falling down. I'm still doing it. It's a lifestyle.
We all do,
falling down is a lifestyle.
It's so cliche.
Dude, if you don't fall down, you're not trying anymore. And then the game's over.
It's so cliche, but so true. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith and John Anderson. You're live with Keith and friends here. Hey, Johnny, I know we got the lifestyle tip coming up here. Keith, we're gonna work our way out of here with you in a second here, pal. I want to do some rapid fire with you, buddy. Let's do some rapid fire questions with you. Coffee or energy drinks?
Both. Anything with caffeine.
Nice. Most played song on your playlist right now?
Shit, probably something Backstreet Boys because of all the fucking memes going around.
I love the fucking honesty there, dude. Not everybody would have the balls to admit that. That's good.
I did it my way. Tell me why. There's one little Backstreet Boys.
Oh, God damn. That's making it even worse.
Best hockey player of all times, Keith Hawkins.
Well, I mean, Ovechkin, yeah, he did it on paper, but Gretzky's still a good guy. Even though the Kings were in a weirred spot with that, but he's still a great guy. I'd say on and off the ice. On and off the ice, Gretzky. He's a great guy. Because you got guys like Patrick Kane who punch cabbies, and you got to find guys who are good on and off the ice. And I think Gretzky still holds that.
Favorite gemstone?
Pink diamond.
Oh, one thing entrepreneurs waste too much time on.
Why they got it wrong.
Oh, interesting. And then a bonus question for you. Real diamonds or manufactured diamonds?
If anyone in the industry is listening to me, this is going to cause a shit show, but I say both. Both. I love them both equally. And the diamond industry right now is at a huge fucking flux between the two. I love them both. And we support them both.
Interesting. If you can go back and whisper one piece of brutally honest advice in your younger entrepreneurial ear, what would it be, Keith Hawkins?
Buckle up.
Oh, nice one. Nice one. And finally, how can Business Athlete Mornings in the Lab Nation connect with Keith Hawkins and find you, my brother?
LinkedIn. I live there.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Was your experience with us as good today as we hoped it would be?
Yeah, better. Always.
Awesome. Awesome. I look forward to grabbing some coffee later today. Hawkins, you come back hang with us again?
That absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Brother, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Pleasure.
Likewise, guys. Thank you.
We got AJ Zeglen coming up for some Minefield. Keith, I invite you to stick around the green room. I'm sure we might talk a little bit of hockey, and I look forward to connecting with you later today, Keith. We got the lifestyle tip of John Anderson, and then we got AJ Zeglen coming up here. We're talking some semen retention. He's like, what? Yeah.
We're talking the black cap. We're talking black cap.
I can see his face right now. He's like, what the hell are we talking about? And maybe a few other things. Hawkins, if you want to stick around, do so. Jimmy, keep Hawkins around. If he wants to hang around, he can hang around with us for a few minutes here. All right, Johnny, let's get after it, pal.
All right, this is basically just kind of bouncing off what we've been talking about with our last guest. See, unfortunately, we've been programmed as people by, society and goodness, teachers, parents, coaches, you name it. And keep them on. They didn't do it on purpose. They didn't really know any better. It happened to them, so that they did it to us. We're not really trained mentally to recognize that our challenges and our problems are really our blessings. Many of us never figure that out. But when it comes down to it, if we were programmed to think, okay, that problem, it looks like a problem and it looks like a roadblock, but it's actually just a small set of steps to get to that next level of who you are, because you're going to develop a skill set getting up those steps. And every time you better your skill set, you get better. You see, life never gets easier. We have to get better. And when we get better, the illusion of life, or actually life, does get easier because we negotiate it with a different position mentally. And for so many people, they've never had a conversation where it's been reframed. So if this is the first time where you're hearing this, this can be really powerful stuff, because if you look back, really look back and be honest, some of the most brutal things you went through turned out to be your biggest blessings. Find one of those in your life. Start to trust the fact that everything that stands in front of you that seems to be a problem is actually an opportunity, and your life will change, and it will change fast. Rock and roll.
All right, we're getting after it with Johnny here in Lifestyle Tip every day at 9:45 Eastern, 8:45 Eastern time here on Mornings Live with Keith and friends. Are hanging out with myself, Keith Hawkins, John Anderson, and AJ Zeglen coming up here on a happy Thursday morning after a big win last night. What's going on, my brother, today?
Huge win, man. Huge win.
Really quick, before when AJ wasn't here, you said some semen what? What did you say? Semen what?
Semen retention. We're talking
semen retention. So my question, are we talking about the black cap? Does everyone remember what the black cap is? The black fireman's cap?
I do.
I think I'm too young. I don't know.
No, it's a story I told a couple of shows ago. That's why it's not something you would know.
I remember it.
See, my boy remembers. Come on, man. Come on. We call AJ's segment Mind Fuel, right? We're talking about the power of our head. Well, we call life expectancy work sex. Now we can call AJ's section the black cap.
There we go.
I'll never forget it, because I feel like in a weird way it was a compliment to me, right? Like
100% it was, brother.
John was willing to go there just to hang out. So.
I was although there was no discoloration, so we were good. I didn't have to squeeze it that hard.
The greatest contribution I've given to Keith and AJ's relationship is his introduction to John Anderson.
Yeah. No, if I could be half as big as his bicep, I'm good.
Oh man. Hey,
I love it.
let's talk a little bit about semen retention. This is crazy. You ever wondered if abstaining from ejaculation could unlock hidden potential? Well, apparently there's a movement happening, guys, where there is a over 170,000 followers happening in the Reddit subcommunities around semen retention, claiming incredible benefits. AJ, like boosted energy, razor sharp focus, magnetic masculinity. I can see your smirk, Zeglen. Magnetic masculinity. But does the science actually back this up? And understanding the facts behind semen retention isn't just about personal curiosity. It's about separating myths. And what does it mean, guys? It means that you don't ejaculate. And the followers that subscribe to the semen retention idea report numerous benefits, gentlemen. Heightened energy, improved. I
actually have some real world data for this one.
What I want to hear, increased. This doesn't work for me because I can't make decisions if I don't let it go here. Improved concentration, increased confidence, and reduced anxiety. Some boys, because I know we're all about energy on the show. Some men even speak of an enhanced electromagnetic field and magnetic masculinity. But so scientific support remains limited. While brief abstinence, 2 to 5 days, can temporarily improve sperm quality for fertility. And Johnny, we were talking about fertility over the last couple of days in the show. Prolonged abstinence might reduce sperm health. So boys, this idea of Johnny, let's start with you, pal. Sperm retention, good or not good?
Well, in my strength career,
yes,
you know, I was always looking for ways to get stronger, especially when I was coming up.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if there wasn't a lot of information, so when you found something, you were trying it. And so, I mean, keep in mind, as a young guy, Jesus Christ, you fucking masturbating like a wildcat. You know what I mean? It's just the nature of being a young man.
Yes.
Right. And so I started just kind of play with the idea. Okay, on the days that I squat, I'm not going to do it till I'm done. Right. And then I would do it just to kind of play. I would do it before, some days, some weeks before, some days after. And I noticed there's a pretty big difference. Like when it came down to that, you know, when I didn't think I could get another one and I'm just biting off one more at a time.
Yeah.
I felt like I was better in that space. Now, fast forwarded to now I've come all the way up. I'm an international player in strongman. I'm traveling all over Europe. So think like this. This is maybe what makes a little bit more sense. So you're getting ready to pull a 747 and it's going to take you, 60 full seconds to get it down this runway. And what you see, you see there's fucking cameras all around you. But what you're really looking at is the fucking guy standing next to the doctor that's got the goddamn oxygen tank. That's what you're looking at. You just can't wait to get there because as soon as you're done, you are so fucking out of air. You just flop on the ground. They roll you over. They stick that on your mouth, and it's all you can do to get your breath back without going out. Right? So in that, you figure that's the type of output. So prior to that, you want to limit any type of muscle contraction that you can. And getting a nut is like taken away from some of what could have been in a tank for pulling that big fucking plane down the runway.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
It does actually. And it's funny because we relate it to sports. We often hear AJ looking at you and Hawkins looking at you. We often hear where coaches are like, what's up, Jay? I see you there in the comments. We often hear coaches like, you guys can't have sex tonight because you got a big game tomorrow. So AJ, when we're talking about this sperm retention and bunging ourselves up and so forth, anecdotally or thoughtfully, comments from you, Mr. Mindfuel expert here today, Mr. Zeglen.
Yeah, so the context would matter, right? So how are you going about that release? So and I should probably be fact checked on this one because now I'm getting just a little bit outside my general area of expertise. But if I do remember correctly, I think there is a difference too in your hormonal response if you're just having a party with yourself or if you're having a party with your partner.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I think actually for males that regular sexual interaction with their partners actually increases testosterone.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying, I agree with Johnny there. I'm not saying that you would go and do that immediately before something that you would have to spend every single ounce of your energy on. I'm not saying that you're doing immediately there, but to hold back on that in general for, let's say, weeks or months or whatever they're doing at a time.
I'm done supporting that one. That's for sure.
Right. Your testosterone would actually go down. It would decrease regular sexual interaction with your partner, and because it's a different hormonal response that we get when you're just doing it yourself, or when you have that connection with another person and you're doing it right. So I would say, again, and you could probably fact check me on that, but I'm almost positive for that to be true. But so over that long-term stuff, I don't really get it. I don't really see what it would be. To be honest, I'm not really willing to put those hours in to go through any personal experience in semen retention.
Well, despite anecdotal claims, rigorous studies have not found have not found substantial or sustained testosterone increases or other significant physiological benefits linked to semen retention. And medical experts from the International Society for Sexual Medicine reinforce this point, noting the perceived benefits often stem from, here's a magical word, Johnny, placebo effects rather than verified biological changes. But as you said, John, you notice yourself anecdotally and in real life, lifting and not lifting, whether you're getting it after yourself or not getting it after yourself, you noticed a clear difference, Johnny.
Well, here's the thing, and I got two different ways to describe this. So think of it like this, and we're talking high level. You are squeezing every ounce of effort out of you for this, any of this to make sense. What I'm saying. Think of it like a sponge, right? You squeeze that sponge down enough that you put it underwater. It sucks all that water up. You bring it back up. You want to get out on the you want to go into the arena with this fucking sponge without giving it any squeeze, right? An orgasm is giving that little sponge a squeeze. Some of that water's coming out. That makes sense?
Yes.
You are trying to store everything you can because you got 4 events that are going to kick your ass, and you got to do it again. And if it's a big contest, possibly a 3rd day in a row. Here's another example. So I had a buddy of mine, and he was young. He came onto the scene really young, and he was just, 25, 26 years old, and, just a horn dog. And when we would be in these different places, if he would find a chick, which he almost always did, right? I mean, the older guys, we do this when it's over. You know what I mean? The younger guys, you find one of those in the day one of a 3-day contest. And I competed with them enough. We'd get, we'd be on the, we'd be in the lobby getting ready to go to the arena. And I was, hey, how's that going? If he was hitting her the morning of the show, I wasn't worried about him. If he wasn't hitting her the morning of the show, this fucking dude was an animal. That thing, I don't know what you call that thing, just was not quite there.
Hawkins, comments on the semen retention discussion?
I don't know. I'm out of my wheelhouse.
Love the honesty, brother.
I was like, I'm like, diamonds, solid, art, solid, everything else, tech, good, but
that's
awesome. When you feel it, I guess. I don't know.
So, guys, as we're having some fun wrapping up the segment on semen retention, the fact of the matter is stay curious, stay critical, and don't shy away from seeking some professional guidance if you're looking for some curiosity around this discussion, whether you want to retain it, reload it, or let it go. Some fun discussion here. As Jimmy said earlier, AJ, or what?
Oh no, I was going to say or release. I thought you were setting it up for 3 hours in a row there.
Or release. There you go. There you go.
Hey, but I do want to add one last thing. All my examples of holding on to that thing until you're like crazy, exertion is over. The only one that I'm pinning this to was high level strength. Didn't make a difference when I was wrestling. Didn't make a difference when I was bodybuilding. Totally different drill. So it's just that I think in many cases you can actually, like you said, Keith, it can really fucking create some clarity. Sometimes you're all fucking bent out of shape. You feel like you got ants in your pants. Well, Jesus Christ, if you don't get those out of there, you're not going to be able to focus.
Yes. Yeah. This is so true. This is so true.
Hey, real quick too, if you know, just from a purely psychological standpoint, you know, trying to look at this objectively, where some benefit might come from some people, whether they realize it or not, is just the simple fact of they feel that they have some, it would be another form of self-mastery, right? Like you have something, it'd be no different than, let's say I'm like, I was like a chocolate addict. Sorry, just love chocolate and love to eat it every day, but I'm trying to clean up my diet and get better. And I'm able to resist that urge to eat the chocolate every day. And then all of a sudden I start to feel like I got some real autonomy here. I'm really in control. I've been able to mentally overcome this thing that I always feel that I need to do and move forward, right? And you'll see that when people give up all sorts of different stuff. Sometimes people give up stuff for Lent every year. Sometimes people give up, you know, stuff for all sorts of reasons. And when they do that, sometimes you get this psychological boost where you feel like I've overcome this challenge, or I've mastered my self-control because I've been able to not do this thing that I would typically do a lot, or, you know what I mean? That gives me some sort of satisfaction, and I'm able to, you know, work through that. And so there might be some psychological benefit there for them that they are finding in this moment by this semen retention, because they feel like they've exercised some sort of control with themselves, right?
Dude, that is so good. I love that. That right there is the fucking black cap statement of the segment.
Yes. Well, it's because what he's talking about, Johnny, is discipline, right?
Yes, 100%. That's what I said. That's the black cap statement. It doesn't get any better than that one.
Yes. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, and AJ here on Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends. AJ and Hawkins, can you guys stick around for one more segment here? I got one more topic. Can you guys do it?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome. So, how your brain handles uncertainty to improve performance, guys. I'm thinking sports. I'm thinking surgeons. I'm thinking this. And have you guys ever wondered why even the most skilled athletes or surgeons or sharpshooters, thinking about a guy on the ice, guys, or a guy at bats, sometimes struggle with precision under pressure? Well, listen, there's some fascinating science behind how our brains handle visual uncertainty and what elite performers know what you might not. And the reality is this: grasping how your brain distinguishes between planning and executing movements under visual uncertainty can revolutionize performance. And we're talking very much in the athletic or even the surgeon game, guys. Whether you're gaming competitively, playing athletics, or performing delicate surgeries, or aiming for like that perfect basketball shot. A groundbreaking study by Nature Communication reveals that our brains process visual uncertainty in two distinct forms. Hawkins, target uncertainty and feedback uncertainty. Now, guys, here's how it works. Target uncertainty is an unclear goal. It impacts how we plan movements, often resulting in initial inaccuracies. Think about when you're shooting a basket. You kind of have this initial goal, but you're constantly being inaccurate. Where there's this, the feedback uncertainty, meanwhile, is ambiguity about your limb or tool position, significantly impacts execution of movements, especially relying solely on visual cues. Now, neurologically, these uncertainties activate different phases of our motor cortex. Where you have target uncertainty, reduces neural precision in planning, where feedback uncertainty primarily disrupts execution phases. Wow, a lot of fucking words here, guys. But the reality is that there's when we're in these precision moments, there's target uncertainty and feedback uncertainty. And when we're in this target state, it's all about unclear goal locations. Guys, am I making any sense with this? AJ, starting with you, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I'm sorry. I just real quick, AJ. I've got to let you want to hear what you got to say, but Keith, you haven't cut me out of here for a piss in a hell of a long time.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah, Jimmy, we're off the clock here. Johnny, go for it.
I'll be real quick because I want to hear everything AJ got to say. I can hear you the whole time, AJ. Yeah, so I'll be right back.
Keep going, AJ.
Yeah, go for it. I can wait till Johnny gets back.
He can hear you. So talk about
two Jets fans alone with the Oilers fan. That's good.
Hey, man, I got to say, Keith, I was actually excited to see the Oilers jersey. I I run a strength and conditioning facility here in Winnipeg as well. And one of my longest clients that I've had and worked with since he was a teenager is Kelvin Pickard. And obviously he's been in net for you guys and being down 2-0 and now winning 3 straight. So obviously we live and die with the Jets here. But I also I've been up every single late game because obviously you guys always get the late starts in the TV schedule. And
It's been crazy.
I've been living and dying with the Oilers as well. And just because, obviously Cal's our guy here and we love to see him have some success. So
Pick just lives over here. He just lives up the street, just down the street from me, actually. Yeah, he just lives down the road.
It's so crazy. And it's like your guys' story again, like being a team, not a team. And then how like overnight the Coyotes, they went under, and then the owner of the Utah Jazz, created the Utah Hockey Club. So it's like franchises moving and everybody trying to like reposition and come back. So like your guys' story is crazy too. And, I grew up a Sharks fan, knew the original players, Richie, Nolan, Diana. I helped paint their house when I worked for Sherwin back in the day. So I was able to like, their families on and off the ice. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool to like see it. But like, again, when I don't know, it's cool. Like, that's why when you asked about like favorite hockey player, I'm like, who's good on and off the ice? Because it's on the ice, but who are they as a person? So
right. Well, you'll if you ever get the chance to meet, if you're a huge Oilers fan, you get a chance to meet Cal Pickard. He will be one of your favorite people you ever meet off the ice, man. He's as good as a human being as they can come. So
solid dude, AJ. He's a pretty solid human. So
the best.
We're talking with AJ Keith and John Anderson. We're talking about how your brain handles uncertainty to improve performance. And it really leans on to two pieces of the way your brain activates, which is around visual uncertainty and target uncertainty. And there's actually some recommendations on how you can practically apply this. But AJ, looking at you to start this conversation, brother.
Yeah, for sure. So there was, I won't lie, there was even some terminology there and stuff that was new to me hearing that, like you read that. So I'm kind of trying to relate it to certain systems that I'm aware of and that I work with athletes on and certain things that I know about. One thing that we work on, with athletes is a skill that we call proprioception, right? So that's your awareness of body and space.
Okay.
And you'll see that a lot with athletes. And that's why we always want, if we're training a hockey player, that's good that he plays hockey. That's cool. But I want to make him the best athlete that he can possibly be. Mm-hmm. He will then take those
foundation, baby,
and attributes and apply them to hockey. If I'm working with a basketball player, I want him to be the best athlete he can be, right? And one of those athletic skills is you'll see great athletes have a great sense of proprioception. So they're aware of their body is in space, even when they lose their visual cues. I'm sure if you're talking to John and he's talking about wrestling in the ring, there's probably sometimes where visually he could see exactly how far he is, the distance he is from the ropes. And there's probably some times where he's got the ropes at his back, but he just knows his body in space that they're 2 feet behind him or 3 feet behind him. Whereas someone without that skill might have no clue if they're 6 feet away from it or 2 inches away from it, right? And then that's where athletes can get into trouble performance-wise and really kind of struggle. So it is a learned skill. Foundationally, the better athlete that you are, the better you're able to pick that up and have that sense of awareness, even if you don't have the visual cue. A lot of times, though, you also get some of those repetitive visual cues help aid in that. Like you'll when you talk to goalies in hockey, they'll have visual cues on the ice. So they'll know exactly when the puck is at this point. That will give them the data that they need to positionally get in position, right? So they'll be like, oh, well, when the puck's here on this hash mark, I know if I come out to this spot in my crease, this is where I am, right? And you'll see goalies even give themselves a little bit of a clue, right? Like you'll see them tap each post so they know they're centered in their crease. If they know that they're centered in their crease to start, then they know from there they can move around the net and know where they are in the net without having to turn and look behind them, right? They have that skill of their awareness and body and space. Those are just 2 quick examples talking about hockey. I mean, you could apply this principle to absolutely any athlete at any sport. And that's why I always promote when we have people coming in here, kids coming in here, teenagers coming in here. I'm like, hey, the goal is to make yourself to be the best athlete possible. When you work on all those skills, hand-eye coordination, reaction time, and balance, and you work on all those things, proprioception is one of them, and that's your awareness of body and space.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
100%. That's so true, brother. I mean, as you say that, like tapping the sticks, in my strength career, we would load these Atlas stones onto these platforms.
Right.
And in many cases, you're starting on the side of the first platform. And so as the whistle blows, I would run out and I would drag my hand on the box as I turned and faced it. Because as soon as my finger came off, boom, I was set. And then at that point, I knew exactly my distance as I moved down the chain of stones. And keep in mind too, you can't see the top. You just know where the top is.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Interesting. And I got some practical examples here. And Hawkins, looking at you from a business perspective, and I'm even thinking about the diamonds world and so forth. But if you're training for precision tasks, focus first on clearly defining your targets, simulate scenarios with varying target visibility to strengthen your planning stage. And then AJ, you talked about it, but during practice, deliberately create conditions with limited visual feedback to enhance your brain's adaptability during execution. This trains your neural pathways to perform better even under uncertainty. I got to be honest with you, AJ and Keith, I never thought about this till I found this article, and I was like, I'm quite intrigued by this. And I like how you related it, AJ, to an athlete in time and space.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I was going to say the whole thing with like sports too is like I grew up skateboarding. And so I've broken so many bones from miscalculated things, jumping down stairs, railings, going south, and all kinds of stuff. But like, like, okay, I'm going to do this flight of 5 stairs. I need to go about 7 miles an hour, roughly. You don't have a speedometer on a skateboard, but you gauge kind of roughly how quick you're going to go. And I'm like, okay, if I ollie at, a couple of feet before, I'll nail it. If I don't, like, I'm going to take some Tylenol. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So, like, you got to like be super precise on that. And so,
well, that's a good example, Hawkins, of, and I'm thinking where your target is unclear in that situation, right? Where you're thinking, okay, this is what I think it is, versus your visual feedback, which is compromised, hence the Tylenol, right? Right. So it's that scenario where you probably have to go through it to learn it. Or like AJ said, it's a learned skill, or Johnny being in the ring, he's got to do a bunch of reps to recognize that, okay, I'm now in this space in the ring. And I got to even think back to business. And Johnny, what it comes back to, pal, in our world here is just reps, isn't it? It's getting the reps in, eh? Just constant reps, repetition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's just like anything else, you just start to kind of know.
Yes.
Because you've done something. And I mean, that's basically, I think that what the habit is when the body can kind of do something without the mind getting in the way. It's like you've done something enough where it just starts to happen. You kind of know, that goalie knows where to stand. It's like starts, everything just kind of falls into place.
That's right. So remember, guys, understanding the mechanics, whether you're on a skateboard, whether you're in a hockey net, whether you're in the wrestling ring, or whether you're in business, understanding the mechanics behind visual uncertainty. And I'm being serious here. You talked to one of our guest, Keith Lobby. Our eyes play such a big part of our success. Not only boosts performance, it empowers you to face uncertainty confidently, right? So you get into a situation, I invite you to embrace it, train for it, and watch that precision soar as you go through life with whatever you're going to tackle. Guys, what a great conversation there. I thoroughly enjoyed that. AJ, what's going on today, brother, for you?
In the gym in the morning. You guys have heard this story before, man. In the gym in the morning, and then I'll get a lift in, and then I'll head over to my my clinic there, and I have a couple clients I'm seeing tonight, and then later tonight I'll be watching Keith's Oilers there playing. I'll be watching Cal go for Game 6, hopefully finishing off the Kings. Yeah, moving on to the next round.
Is it a cheek day? Is it a deep cheek day, brother?
No, it's actually shoulders today.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's my second favorite, brother. I love the caps, baby. Working the caps.
Hey, have you ever found yourself, guys, unintentionally staring at someone and wondered if you crossed the line? Hawkins, Zeglen, quick minute. Have you ever found yourself in a moment where you're like, oh my God, I think I'm staring too much at that person?
No, not lately. Maybe, I don't know. Like
when I was a kid, I used to do that all the time, man. When I was a kid, I see a big, strong dude, and it was like the fascination was like I didn't care who thought I was weird. I just wanted to look.
Understanding the difference between a harmless glance and uncomfortable staring not only enhances personal interactions, but creates safer, more respectful environments for everyone. Recently, I found something that talks about distinguishing clearly between brief, respectful glances, especially with women, guys, and lingering stares, which can cross boundaries and make someone feel unsafe or objectified. That quick mutual glance with a nod or a smile is typically acceptable, while, that long meandering stare might make somebody feel quite uncomfortable. And many women, due to experience of unwanted attention, perceive this prolonged stares, AJ, as threatening rather than complimentary, highlighting a deeper conversation about consent and personal agency in self-presentation. The reality is this, guys: many women in the world today feel like men stare at them too much.
Yeah, I would say this is an interesting conversation. I have a few thoughts on it.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of it is always so context dependent, right? Like, so I have been there. I know females. I have female friends. I have people, and let's say a guy is looking, and they found that guy to be somewhat interesting or attractive. Then it's flattering. If they feel that guy is not interesting or attractive, or they have no interest in that in either way, then it's creepy, right? And so sometimes it's even the perception of the thing, and you're like, well, there's two people that both did the same thing, but you find one to be appropriate, one to be not appropriate. And I'm not minimizing. I feel like sometimes there's a lot of inappropriate stuff. I would also imagine too that just based on the popularity of these things all day, and you probably have people or guys scrolling through their phones or Instagram, looking at all sorts of maybe pictures of women or whatever, and then all of a sudden they get in real life and they realize they're not staring at their phone anymore, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm staring at a real person now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm sure that maybe adds to the way that I know it affects people, how they interact in general, right?
AJ, what do you think? Could it also have to do with the mood of the person who is being looked at?
Totally. Yeah. I was going to say the mood of the person who's being looked at, and some of the stuff I see, particularly in gym culture.
Yeah. Yes.
Spend a lot of time in my gym.
Yes.
And then luckily we don't have to deal with this in our gym, but I see a lot of stuff online in different gyms where people are almost baiting other people. Like, here, I'm going to set up a camera and I'm going to wear the smallest outfit possible, and I'm going to pose in front of the camera, and then I'm going to try to shame somebody in the background if they even glance over at me, like as if they're being creepy in some type of way, right? It's almost like they're baiting people to so I feel like it's such a nuanced conversation with like a lot of different factors that come.
It's a whole new world, isn't it, brother?
Are there creepy people out there that probably stare too long and make people feel uncomfortable? Absolutely. Are there some situations that are probably blown out of proportion and made to seem like there's something that they're really not? Absolutely, right? There's probably both things are true.
Hawkins and Johnny, I want your comments as quickly. We got Matthew Roof coming in with, I've been called out so many times for staring, not necessarily chicks though. Roof. I'm an observer. It's a way I learn about people. It can be awkward. Johnny, you're a big man who people will observe and look at. I gotta think people have stared at you. And
I don't even fucking pay attention.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I mean, my kids, when they started to be more aware, they're like, Dad, I'm like, listen, you're giving that person your energy. Stop it.
Yes. Yes. What about you, Hawkins? What do you, have you ever confronted someone for staring too long? Either you, Hawkins, or somebody else? And how did it go?
So I never really confronted anybody, but I've been hit on by guys and girls. It gets weird. There's a weird You know, like I grew up thinking, so it kind of ties back to the book a little bit. I'm not trying to go too far into that, but it's weird. I grew up with the perception that like I was unattractive, like girls avoided me, you know, like no one liked me. And then I got to a point where I switched the mindset, as John was talking about before, where it's not so much that like you're getting like something really bad happening to you. It's a blessing in disguise. And I switched the framework like, oh, maybe I'm attractive to some degree where they actually are looking at me, or now I'm causing people to look at me. But I'd never like shoot it away. Like there was weird stuff where like if a guy would, you know, hit on me, I'd be like, okay, thank you. I get like, thank you. I don't know. Same with girls too. It's like, oh, thank you. Like, I don't know. Like it, yeah, I just treat it like like John said, like, I don't really give it too much attention. I kind of go, hey, that happened. Cool. Awesome. Like kind of a compliment, but I guess it depends on my mood. I've never given anyone the finger over it yet.
Yeah. AJ, we live, especially in Canada, we live in a very, very multicultural society today.
Yeah.
Do you think cultural differences impact perceptions of staring, AJ?
Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area. Everyone's everywhere.
Yeah. AJ, what are your comments?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's probably some element to it. I am by no means an expert in anyone's culture, you know.
Yes.
So, but I wouldn't be surprised if culturally there are some differences in that, like especially just when you're looking at the interaction between males and females, and maybe if someone's perceived like staring or looking or whatever, you know what I mean? And again, I can't think of any specific examples, obviously off the top of my head. It's not really my area of expertise, and knowing kind of culturally what that would look like. But I would imagine that, I mean, culture affects everything else, right? So I'm assuming it's probably under the umbrella there. I will say too, like, for myself, like Johnny said, and I'm not indicating or feel that I get stared at a lot. If I was ever getting looked at, I don't think it bothers me at all. I struggle sometimes with my daughter. As you know, my daughter, you know, so you have a child, you have a child with a disability. Sometimes in certain public areas that attracts quite a bit of attention. And not that I find myself ever whatever, but sometimes I'll notice Leighton will make a lot of noises and sounds and stuff. And sometimes I'll notice if we're out there, there'll be a lot of eyes on her. And sometimes people, I feel, will be looking for an extended period of time. And then I'm like, hey, I get it. You're walking around a store, something, all of a sudden you hear this noise behind you. It might seem a little catch you off guard, right? It would catch me off guard. So you just kind of turn to look like, oh, okay, there's a kid there, whatever. But sometimes people hold it for a little longer. And I do find myself then immediately staring at that person, you know? So I'm like, hey, I see you staring at my kid. And I feel like you're kind of looking now in a way that I have perceived to be like you're passing some sort of judgment right now or something. It's gone past, you know, surprise or curiosity or whatever.
And probably reflecting on you, AJ, you're probably thinking, okay, so I see you staring at my daughter, but you're getting to the point now where you're maybe judging me as a human being, and I have a problem with that.
Yeah. And now I'm staring at you. And a lot of times they glance up at me and I just hold eye contact directly with them and just stare at them, almost to make them feel uncomfortable, you know, to be like, hey, like, there's no need to, you know, but again, part of that's probably my own thing too, right? That I probably got to work on and get over, right?
For sure,
and just,
brother.
And be able to let that, it's easier to let it roll off my back when it comes to me. It's harder
100%,
for me to let
brother. You're protecting your child, brother. 100%.
Right.
And I think the best part about that is you do it silently, as to where I think most people would probably, you know, verbally act out, which then it just shows the lack of their character, when all it really takes is a look like, hey, yeah, you looked, that's enough. Go about your way.
Yeah. Right. Remember, guys, creating comfortable public spaces starts with each of us choosing respect and empathy. And let's be mindful of our actions, right? Whoever we're looking at, where we're looking, and building a world. I know this sounds all fluffy and goofy, guys, but it's real, right? Let's build a world where everyone feels seen, not stared at. Because I suspect that much of us go through the world and there's staring happening everywhere, but there's ways to go about it in a positive way.
real quick too, though, Keith, there's one story that is seared into my mind really quick where I stared hard, and I landed in the Denver airport and I got on that little moving sidewalk.
Yes.
And from the other end, at the other end, I see this human being, this mammoth human being step on, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Phil Heath.
Oh,
and I'm like, that's Phil Heath. And I'm thinking in my mind, so now I'm looking around at people around me. I'm like, does anyone else recognize this is Phil Heath? You have to know it's Phil Heath. And we passed each other on the sidewalk, and I didn't say anything. I didn't want to bother him. He had his headphones over his ears, and he was looking straight ahead.
Yes.
But man, I was like, as we passed each other, I was just slow motion, man, like 3 feet away from him. To see Phil Heath in person for me was a mind-blowing experience. And I was like, I don't care. I know I'm staring. I'm soaking every second of this in as we go by each other.
It's funny. You know what? I got to share. I can relate. I was in Miami Airport, and I was caught staring at Rick Rubin. Because the guy stands out, right? The guy's got the beard, the hair, and he's walking in flip-flops, and he looks unlike anything you've ever seen. And I'm going, I know that guy. And I'm just staring at him like a motherfucker. And he walks right by me because he can see me staring at him with a big grin on his face. I'm just like a little child, Rick Rubin. He's like, yeah. It's just like a little child, right? I was in my 40s, but to your point, AJ, you're like, there's that guy, right? Yeah. And Johnny, I know people react the same way to you, brother.
Well, and you know, when it comes down to it, when I started off, that was, I couldn't wait. It's like, I can't wait until I'm walking here. Oh my God. Look.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get to that point where you become comfortable with who you are. You start actually making progress, and you realize, you know what? It's just a distraction. And you take that energy, you put it back into moving forward. But in the beginning of the journey, you want to be the strongest guy in the gym. You want everybody to look at you. You want to be recognized for your hard work.
Yes.
And then as you progress, it's just like the evolution of anything. You get past all that.
Yeah. What a fun conversation, guys. And I'm gonna leave our guest who's not in the room right now, who's on the show yesterday, Matthew Roof, saying celebrity run-ins at the urinal. I can imagine that's probably awkward. I'm looking to the left. I'm looking to the right. Oh, is that what it looks like over there? And Matthew says, I love catching people, especially women, making eyes with me. I lean into it. I flash them a crazy look, a silly face, and it all depends on the vibe. I love that AJ calls them out, a dose of their own medicine. That's awesome, guys.
Brother, you know how many times I'll see people that will recognize me in a bathroom and they'll go to shake my hand in the bathroom. I'm like, we can shake hands out there, brother. And that's what I do. They put the hand out, and I point at the door. We'll do it out there. You know, go on now and clean yourself up. Y'all see outside the restroom.
Apparently, Matthew might be comparing urinals with Nick Cage. Nicely shared there, Matthew Roof. All right, guys, listen, I got Pat and Patricia Rubio waiting for us in the green room here. We're going to wrap it up here. So listen, Hawkins, I'm walking you out. Pleasure to hang out with you today, brother. I'm going to catch up with you later today.
I got to jump too, brother.
Johnny's got to rock and roll out of here. AJ's got to rock and roll out of here. AJ, thanks for hanging out, man. I just fucking love when you hang out with us, brother. What a great, fun conversation here today. I love being here, man. We talked semen retention to staring. Yeah. I'm just a super host, man. Absolutely.
I love it.
I love you guys. Have a good day, okay? Jimmy, let's reset. We're going to bring Patricia Rubio.
Have a good loop, everyone.
Have a good one, guys. All right, guys, let's go. Jimmy, hang tight with Patricia. We're going to do a quick little reset here on the show. What a lot of fun here, guys. What a fun show. The energy is high. My hockey team won last night. Keith Hawkins hung out for the whole show. Hawkins, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us, brother. What a wonderful show. I'm looking forward to catching up with you for coffee later today, and I'm eager to read your book. Guys, go check out Keith Hawkins online on LinkedIn. You can find him, Kara X. Solid dude. Brings great energy. I'm loving getting to know him. Matthew Roof, who's joining us as well. Not on the show, but in the comments. Matt, dude, you hung out for the whole show. I appreciate you, man. The show's not even over. I love your energy, and I love your comments, and I love the engagement and so forth. Let's see, guys. We started the show here today with Jimmy. What the hell did we start the conversation with this? I feel like we've been here forever. We started the show talking about what we talked about the Jets. We didn't get to that one. We didn't get to that one either. I messed up the accountability check-in. No, we spent all of our time. I didn't even talk about my overthinking challenges, but we did spend talking about semen retention. We talked about how to make decisions, and we're getting into staring. But now we have somebody coming up on the show here. And I see you, Lady Drew Boger. I see you in the comments. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning, Lady Drew. And as you know, we are not done yet on the show here because we have somebody coming up who we celebrated a few days. I think last week we celebrated this person in the lab here. And what if your greatest growth strategy isn't about winning new customers? Jimmy, what the hell is it? What if it's about getting obsessed with the ones you already have? What if it was? It takes a lot of effort to get a new customer. So why do we obsess over the current ones? Why are we obsessed with getting new ones when we already have the current ones? That's why I do these post-show calls, because it's like, hey, let's hang out, let's collaborate. Today's guest, Patricia Rubio, says the secret to exponential growth. Yeah, it's like the Donald Trump. The secret to exponential growth is already sitting in your customer list. And she's here to tell us why your next best customer is your current customer. Patricia Rubio is a customer-centric growth expert who spent over 2 decades turning customer insights into explosive revenue growth. She doesn't just help businesses find new customers, she helps them fall back in love with the ones they've already got. She's boosted ROI, slashed operational headaches in half, and rumor has it, Jimmy, she can spot a revenue leak faster than most of us find our keys in the morning. Buckle up, guys. We're diving deep into the real secret behind scalable, sustainable growth in the community corner. Let's take a moment, Jimmy, to introduce and welcome our friend, Patricia Rubio. What's up, Rubio? I'm a hockey guy. I like to use the last names and the nicknames, and I can't hear you on the vertical here, so if we can get you unmuted, that'd be awesome here.
Hi, Keith. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, there you go. What's shaking, girl? How are you today?
I'm doing perfect. Thank you. I was listening to John a minute ago. It was a nice introduction about shaking hands in the bathroom and everything.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever had any awkward celebrity run-ins in the bathroom, Patricia Rubio?
Yeah, well, ladies, we can spend hours. So
yes, you guys can.
It's more about, hey, are you still there? Like, please don't bother us.
Yes. Hey, but let's lean into this quickly. Staring. You're a female, and staring is part of society. And we talked a little bit about how, staring awkwardly and looking awkwardly. And have you found yourself in situations, Patricia, where somebody's staring at you or they're looking at you prolonged and you're like, pardon my language, what the fuck are you looking at? Like, have you found yourself in those situations? And if you have, how have you handled them? Patricia Rubio.
I think that's a delicate balance, and it also depends on gender, because as females, we are more taught to be kind, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, you don't want to cross this, you don't want to appear as very confrontational, but at the same time, again, you don't know if that person knows you from somewhere else. So the way I've approached the situations is more about, can I help you with something? Like initiate contact in a kind way, assuming that there's nothing wrong there. But if the conversation follows more kindly, then okay, you continue it, right? But if it doesn't, then it's you need to stand your ground and set boundaries and be clear on either move away or be clear on stop doing whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah. Patricia, we introduced you in our community corner. We celebrated you last week here on the show, and I introduced you as somebody who helps businesses spend more time getting value out of current customers instead of, getting new ones. And you're not saying don't get new customers, but you're really all about extracting value from your existing ones. Patricia, what's the biggest mistake that businesses make when they shift focus from product to customers?
The biggest mistake is that you've been so good at doing what you are doing, right? Your product, your baby, you've spent years trying to perfect it. Mm-hmm. But then you need to learn the same way that you learn about your product and how to make it great. Mm-hmm. You need to learn about who will use it and how they will use it. And the biggest mistake is that when you create a product, you are very focused on features. height, speed, volume, color, so on and so forth. But you miss the reason why you created it on the first place and how your top 3 features make sense to somebody. What's the outcome that they're gonna get? So it's this mindset shift where you stop thinking about a thing and you begin thinking about a person.
Yes. Yeah. What's talk to me a little bit about how quickly businesses when they're making these changes can realistically see results when they start doubling down on existing customers instead of focusing on new product and new customers. You're sitting down with the customer and you're saying, hey, listen, let's really focus on obsessing on your existing ones. How quick do those results start happening, Patricia?
I wish I could have something to prove it to you right now, but it's almost immediate. Every person, every company that I work with, again, they can have a wonderful product, and sometimes they're doing a good job with their customers, but they're not obsessed about what can I do for you? How can they see results faster? And as soon as you change that shift, make that shift, and begin asking the right questions about, for instance, how fast are you seeing results after using my product? Or how fast are you achieving your outcomes, right? What's the value that I'm bringing to you? When you begin asking those questions, you can see, again, within first, the people that you begin talking to feel seen, and they see you care, and that spreads like fire. So that's a wonderful way to make this change, and you can see changes happening almost immediately.
Interesting.
Yes.
I got to tell you, Patricia, and if there's anybody curious about Patricia Rubio's obsession, I would invite you to check out her LinkedIn profile. Patricia, did you realize that you've mentioned the word customer exactly 26 times in some of your recent LinkedIn posts? Clearly you are passionate about customers, and I love that. It's one of the reasons we were drawn to celebrate you. But I got to ask you, what's the funniest thing a customer has ever said to you during an interview?
My marketing sucks, for instance. It's so funny seeing how people interpret their problems, right?
Yes.
The words that they use. And more than funny, Keith, I have to say, I'm in awe all the time, because when you are able to read through the lines and understand not only what they are saying, but what they are avoiding to say, sometimes that tells you way more than what you expected, right? Instead of saying, of course, I would love to buy your product. You can identify, and why would you recommend it, right? And for instance, silence, it's a key indicator that maybe they are not as happy as you thought about your product. If they are not willing to recommend and put their own reputation behind your product, that says way too much. So more than funny, I would say, look at the people, try to identify some cues about what they express and what they omit, and deep dive on what is going on really here. Try to have these challenging conversations if your intent is to grow, of course, right?
Because you're so customer focused and the businesses you work with are customer focused, and I love focusing on the word obsession when it comes to customers. What does it look like when a business is genuinely customer obsessed?
First, you can see a couple of avenues or special outcomes. You can see how both employees and customers love the product and the company. You can see this feeling of warmth, right? You can see word of mouth being spread as fire, because people feel seen, people feel comfortable, people like the atmosphere, the product, the experience, the results, etc. And you see that from top to bottom, right? From leadership to every employee to every person, customer service. So, however, you might encounter two type of people. You might encounter the people who doesn't seek riches and simply want a happy customer and not charging a lot. They don't want to get rich overnight. They don't want to grow exponentially. They just want to remain simple and have happy customers in an environment that they can control. At the same time, you can have other type of leaders who focus on and obsess on their customers and want to scale, right? Their thinking is about how can I make this available to way more people than what I have today. And that requires a different set of skill set. At the same time, you need to obsess on having the employees who will represent your brand, because you won't be able to be there in every customer interaction. You will need to rely on your employees to follow the brand, the promise, the experience to your customers. It's harder, it's more challenging, but at the same time, you can touch more lives when you scale.
Oh, I love it. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith Billis, producer Jimmy, and our guest, Patricia Rubio, here in the Community Corner segment of Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends. And Patricia, I want to get some rapid fire questions for you to have some fun with you as we work towards this segment, as we're working through this segment here together. Patricia, favorite underrated business book?
Never Split the Difference from Chris Voss.
Oh, very good. One word you'd ban from business meetings forever.
Try.
Oh, very nice. Coffee or tea during client calls?
Coffee.
Best business advice you ever ignored and glad that you did?
Just focus on one thing.
Love it.
Don't be a generalist, I guess. Yes.
Love it. And Patricia, if your customers could describe you in 3 words, what do you hope those 3 words would be? Number 1.
Reliable.
Number 2.
Trustworthy.
Number 3.
Fun.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Reliable, trustworthy, and fun. Our guest, Patricia Rubio, that's how we're describing her. That's how her customers are describing her. Not what she hopes they describe her. That's how they describe her. That's what we've decided here on the show here this morning. And we're going to get to the celebration part of the show. My favorite part of the show, Patricia, where we take the big old light and we crank it up and then it shines light on people, just like we shined it on you. And we're going to shine the light on somebody right now in the community corner where LinkedIn's connecting creators through live conversation every single day here on Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends at 9:30 Eastern time. We take human beings, we celebrate them. We celebrate them like a motherfucker, Patricia. Like, yeah, we're going to celebrate that person just like we celebrated you. We surprised you, didn't we? We surprised you, didn't we?
Yes, you did. It was amazing.
You woke up like, hey, who's this dude there celebrating me?
Yes, that was a great note. And we are very time different, so it was nice.
Where are you right now, by the way?
It's almost 7 a.m. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, love it, love it. I got family in Phoenix. Hello to Phoenix, Arizona. And I've spent many, many years in time in Phoenix. I got some wonderful family there. What's shaking Tyler? What's shaking Jody? What's shaking Albert? What's shaking Riley? But guys, listen, there's a gap in sales right now. You've got reps posting content with no strategy. You've got others grinding outbound with no edge. And most of them, Patricia, are leaving pipeline on the table. But there's one guy who saw the gap. Yeah, and he built the bridge. He started where a lot of people start, in the SDR seat, trying to figure it out. But instead of playing the same old game, Patricia, he changed the playbook. He fused outbound with content. He built a system that turns attention into action. And he started closing deals where most people chase likes. Now, this dude trains teams at Google, Slack, and HubSpot because his process works. Yeah, true story. Not sometimes, not when it goes viral, every single day. This morning, Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends, and our guest, Patricia Rubio, who's paying it forward, is excited to introduce us to this guy, Morgan J. Ingram. Boom, what's shaking Morgan? Surprise! He runs AMP. He's a 4-time LinkedIn top sales voice, and he's redefining what it means to sell with content. This spotlight came from today's guest, Patricia Rubio. So, Patricia, I'm sliding the light over to you. Tell us, why are we celebrating Morgan today?
You know, above anything, Morgan is an amazing person. It's real, right? I had the pleasure of knowing him last year, actually, here at an event in Phoenix. And if you need anything related to growing in LinkedIn from a sales perspective, you need to follow Morgan. He will give you, again, the very practical things that you can start applying immediately, and his process works. I've seen him explode and being called to demonstrate, showcase, speak at high level events on both marketing and sales, and he is your go-to guy to again explode on LinkedIn in sales.
Love it. Morgan, we're celebrating you here today with our guest Patricia Rubio, and we'd love to have you in the lab. So here's how it works. We celebrated Patricia. We said, hey, we're celebrating you. And then when I said, hey, Patricia, here's a light for you. She's like, yeah, what's the light for? Well, the light is to pay it forward, to shine it forward, to shine it on somebody else. And Morgan, we'd like to offer you that same opportunity. So we'd like to offer you the light from Patricia to give to you, to move it through your network, through your world, through your community, and say, hey, Keith, hey, Patricia, I want to celebrate that human because they're doing great work. That's what we're doing here, Morgan J. Ingram, here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. So you are invited, my brother, to come hang out with us, take over the light, and celebrate somebody in the next Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Patricia, what a great nomination. I did some checking out on Morgan after you nominated him before the show here today. I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking rocking it, man. What a great selection. What a great selection. But hey, it doesn't stop there. Patricia, did you spend any time on Substack at all?
Yes, I do.
You do? Excellent. So do we. And listen, we have a second piece of our creator spotlight, and we shine the light over in the Substack community every single day as well. And if you can stick around with me, let's do that. Listen, you can be brilliant at your craft and you can still burn out. You can crush deadlines and still feel disconnected. You can stack up wins and still wonder why it doesn't feel like it's enough. Well, the guy we're celebrating right now, he gets all that. He's not here to tell you just to grind harder. No, that's from Keith and Johnny. We're all about just going to grind harder. This guy's here to help you build a life that actually works. This guy's a software engineer with a brain for deep systems. No, Jimmy, I didn't say deep cheeks. That's part of the AJ and John conversation. And a heart for real balance. Yes, Patricia, I got a smile at you. I got some laughter out of you there. And this guy's turned those two things into a killer Substack. And it's called Smarter Engineers. Every week, Patricia, this guy drops frameworks for how to grow your career without wrecking your health. Because we both know many of us folks struggle with doing one or the other. We go through our careers, we wreck our health. We build our health, our career goes sideways. Or fading out on people who matter most. We're talking deep work systems, real mindset shifts, clarity around salary, sleep, and relationship. The creator behind this Substack this morning, who we're celebrating this morning, is Alberto Gonzalez. What's shaking, Alberto? We're celebrating you here today. Alberto is helping tech pros stop chasing a one-dimensional version of success and start showing up as complete professionals, not just smarter engineers, but smarter humans. And I invite you to check out his Substack called Smarter Engineers for enlightening content, empowering conversation, and just damn wonderful human being over on the platform named Alberto Gonzalez. All right. So Alberto, here's how it works, my brother. We'd love to have you on the show. Love to have you hanging out with me. We'd love to give you the light that we're celebrating you with and shining it on you so you can shine it forward and celebrate somebody in your world on the next Community Corner Creator Spotlight on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. There we go. Jimmy. There's our two Community Corner Creator Spotlights here on Mornings in the Lab this morning with Patricia Rubio, myself, Keith Billis. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. Patricia, what do you got going on today in your world?
Oh, I'm finishing my book.
Tell me about your book.
It's called How to Listen to Your Customers So They Want to Talk to You. It's changing the script. Yes.
How's the book coming along?
It's 70% done. Should be done today.
Should be done today. Nation,
Yes.
You heard this. She's 70% done and she's finishing it today. That is exceptional. I'm suspecting every obstacle's out of your world here today, and you're going, I'm focusing on that and getting it done, eh?
Yes, lock down on that one. And yeah, it's looking good. I'll share it with you.
Please do. Please do. And when it's released, why don't you come back and talk about it with us?
Yes, I would love to.
Would love to have you here. Patricia Rubio, where can business athlete, where can Mornings in the Lab Nation connect with you and find you?
You mainly LinkedIn. That's where I'm posting most of my content.
Beautiful. And your book will be available. So guys, connect with Patricia on LinkedIn. When her book is released, you can find it on LinkedIn. And when her book is released, you can find it with me as well, because we're going to talk about it. And when do you expect it to be released, Patricia? Next
week should be done.
Dude, so is it being self-published?
No, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you for hanging out with me here this morning. I hope you enjoyed your experience with me as much as I enjoyed having you here today.
Thank you, Keith. It was amazing. Yes. You have a great show.
Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. I threw some time in your calendar today. If I can grab a few minutes with you just to talk for a few minutes off the show. I look forward to connecting with you later today. But I'm gonna excuse you out of here, and I'm gonna wrap up with Jimmy, and I look forward to chatting with you later. Okay, Patricia?
Got it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay. All right, Patricia Rubio is gonna head on out of here, Jimmy, and you and I are gonna wrap it up, pal. I promised Rahima we'd be done by 10 Eastern time here today. Well, I didn't just say we'll probably be done by 10 Eastern time here today, as our show continues to evolve to a 2 to 3 to 4 to 10 hour experience. And Jimmy, I see the numbers like you do. I sure do. Good morning to all of you on X. I don't know what the hell we're doing on X. Jimmy, can I be the vulnerable entrepreneur right now for the next minute or two? Yeah. So we're growing our business on LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, and Substack. Yep. And we've been increasing the time we're spending on the different platforms, increasing the time we're doing things on different platforms. And clearly what we're doing on X seems to be working, Jimmy, because more folks are hanging out with us here on the X platform. So I appreciate all you guys. Just a quick little reintroduction of myself. My name's Keith Bellis. I'm the host of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. We go live 8 o'clock Eastern time, the only morning show for men, and women are invited, and mothers and dads are invited. It is an R-rated show. So the kids, well, if the kids are around, you're going to have to teach them all the bad language or the things we're talking about, because today we talked about semen retention. Today we talked about staring. It's not things we don't want to talk about with the kids. But just a heads up, a warning, just to know what kind of things we talk about here on the show. Myself, John Anderson, every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time. C. Marty Fit, Christopher Martin. We got AJ Zeglen joining us from Mind Fuel on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Next week, we got Nicole Bernard starting with us for a brand new, a relaunched segment, business and branding. We're talking business, we're talking branding. It's going to happen around the 9:45 Eastern time spot on this show. So for all you guys tuning in, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to my profile here on X, or head on over to LinkedIn. Or head on over to YouTube and click the old subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. But clearly, Jimmy, clearly the algorithm is liking the content we're putting out, because I see many of you over on X hanging out with us this morning, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So, all right. Well, I know what time it is, and so does Lola. Lola being my beautiful Pomeranian. She's getting her hair done today. Yep, she is. Not me, my dog. Yeah. And it's time for her to go for that number 2. Jimmy, I think it's time to say goodbye. We're going to be back here tomorrow, guys. Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the notes from Jimmy. Oh, yes, the deep dive. Yeah, the overthinking. Well, listen, I could get into that for a quick couple minutes here. The reality, can I be Frank? Or can I be John? Or can I be Steve? Why do we choose Frank? Sometimes I wonder that. So, can I be Steve? Can I just be Keith? Jimmy, can I be Keith with you? Yeah? Okay. So my deep dive segment, not as prepared today as I would have liked it to have been. You know why, Jimmy? I was too busy overthinking it. Yeah, the segment where today's deep dive segment is, see you later, Roof. Have a good one, brother. The segment for today's deep dive is about how I finally stopped overthinking everything. And it's funny because I often will talk with producer Melissa about this. She's not producer Melissa. Melissa's like the boss. Melissa holds the keys to all this here. So, but I do often tease her about overthinking. And I will often send her we'll often talk about a task or a collaborative effort. And then I'll sign off by saying, Melissa, you're overthinking it. And this is true, because I have been one of those people. I've just overthought shit. So, Jimmy, we'll tease we'll dig into the how I finally stopped overthinking everything. How did I stop? I grew up. Yep, that's it. I just got older. I got aged. Yeah, and I looked at my lights. Oh, okay. It happened this morning. Power went out as I was getting ready for the show, and I could have stressed out. Yesterday, we had a big event here for how we failed publicly, and I could have overthought the whole thing, but I didn't. And how did I do it? I grew up. I realized that overthinking wasn't being very productive, and I realized that overthinking wasn't moving things forward, and I realized that overthinking was moving me towards perfection instead of progress. And maybe that's the best way to wrap that segment up there, Jimmy, that we're not going to cut later. It's just this idea that progress is much better than perfection. And I have found it's the key to stopping that overthinking situation. All right. Yeah. Thanks for the fire emoji, Jimmy. Thanks for calling me out on that one. All right. We're going to get out of here, guys. We're back tomorrow. Lady Drew, Matthew Roof, Nick Cage. Nick Cage is in the comments today, but from Matthew Roof. No. Nick Cage was not here today, but Nick Cage's name was in our comments today because he was apparently hanging out at the urinal with Matthew Roof. Yeah, apparently it's a true story. We might have to get Roof back on the lab to have that conversation. Good Time was here today as well. I don't know where the hell Holward was. Holward, where are you today, brother? Jay was here today. Fit presenter, Mike McQuillan. Delato Blue was here today as well. I love you, Lauren. I see you, baby. All right, we're going to get out of here. On behalf of Jimmy, Melissa, the entire crew here at Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, I'm your host, Keith Bellis. I'm out of here. I'll be back here tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. The only morning show for men to help you guys get your ass out of bed and not hit the snooze button. Let's go, Jimmy. Boom.